I'm very pleased to have Leonard Downey Jr. With us this morning. He's the Vice President at Large of the Washington Post.
Newspaper circulation and television news ratings were already falling steadily, while readership of news on internet websites was growing. Classified advertising was already migrating from newspapers to the web. People of all ages were living much of their media lives online. More than 100 local daily newspapers that are still in existence no longer publish and deliver newspapers every day. The Detroit News and Free Press publish home delivery newspapers only 3 days a week. The printed editions of most surviving newspapers have shrunk in size dramatically, and they contain much less news. Their news reporting staffs have been reduced by 30 to 50% or more. Anyone with a computer or the right kind of handheld device like a BlackBerry or a mobile phone can get news from an unlimited number of sources around the country and the world, whenever and wherever they want, in almost any form they prefer. Headlines, news stories, blogs, wikis, photos, and videos. Never in the history of mankind has so much of what looks like news been so accessible in so many ways. And besides, anyone can now commit journalism in one form or another by writing a blog, taking or transmitting a photo with an iPhone, contributing to a wiki, or tweeting on Twitter. Of course, there are now many millions of bloggers, freelancers, and ordinary citizens posting content on a myriad of places over the web every day, and that's a good thing. Bloggers and citizen journalists do surface information that might not otherwise come to light. And just as importantly, the blogosphere widely disseminates news that was originally produced by the staffs of newspapers and other professional news organizations. And the scrutiny by bloggers of professional news organizations and their content has made them more accountable and responsible than ever before. But bloggers and citizen journalists are only able to produce a relatively small amount of reliable original news reporting, even at the local level. And it is often buried in or distorted by the opinion and bias and trivia that dominates discourse on the internet. While displaced veteran journalists understandably focus on the destruction in the ongoing creative destruction of traditional news media, these digitally savvy future journalists see opportunity for creativity. Even after the current economic recession ends, we will not go back to the days of dominant American newspapers and television companies, in which their news reporting was almost completely subsidized by advertising. So the search for new models has begun, and of course it begins with the internet, where most information, including news, has been free. Existing news organizations are trying to change before it's too late. Only those able to creatively and substantially transform themselves will survive and be able to produce meaningful journalism in the future. The Washington Post provides a good case study. Our newsroom is now being completely restructured and integrated with our web operation. A universal news desk channels all news coverage to platforms ranging from the printed newspaper and its website to iPhones and Facebook pages. Digital initiatives include staff blogs for most beats, interactive discussions with sources and readers, RSS feeds and text alerts, photo galleries, podcasts, and videos. Think back to how much has changed in the news media in the last 4 years. More will change even faster in the next 4. We can be bystanders to that change and lament what we've lost. Or we can find new ways to save the news in the evolving old media, in new media, and in the nonprofit and academic incubators of new forms of news. We should not leave change to new media ideologues who are hostile to professional news reporting. But we must be open to new ways to do that reporting and to share it with an increasingly involved audience. The choices for change do not have to be either or. New news media do not have to completely displace old news media. The digital world has an infinite capacity for volume and variety of forms of news. Whatever the medium, journalism does not have to give way to babble. The most heavily trafficked news sites on the internet are still produced by professional news organizations. People do want to share and communicate with each other in digital space, and they want to know what is factual, especially when it affects their lives. There is danger for journalism in the onrushing destruction of old media, and there is real opportunity for journalism in what can be created out of the chaos. Thanks.